Welcome to LC Screen Talk. My name is Larry, and we are back for a new Game of Thrones reaction video. And today we are up to Season 4, Episode 6, The Laws of Gods and Men. And of course, as always, I am joined by Tyler, my co-host. Hey, Tyler.
Hey, we had that week off. I'm Tanner now. I went on vacation. It was a great time, but we're back to Game of Thrones.
All right, and we are joined by a special guest for this episode. Today we have a Diebs. Hey, welcome.
Thank you so much for letting me join, Larry. I'm psyched, man. Game of Thrones was my baby. At least, we don't talk about the last two seasons here, hopefully. But, man, I'm so excited to talk about this episode because there's a lot of, if we're going to rank the top moments in Game of Thrones, this episode had one of them.
Good to know.
Well, I was going to ask just a little bit about your history. When did you start watching Game of Thrones and your evolution kind of as a fan up to this point?
So I just started, I didn't watch it when it dropped immediately. I remember catching up with it with my wife, in that season 2 range.
Oh, okay. And that's still pretty early on.
Yeah, it was pretty early on.
Season 2.
Yeah, and ever since then, we watched it every single week. I bought all the alcohol. I have literally door stoppers that says Hodor on it.
Oh wow!
As you can tell, I don't know if we'll ever see a show with this magnitude again. Even though, kind of, whatever. Sorry, Tyler. But anyway.
I've heard all the bad stories from Larry and a lot of the internet. So
okay, Hannah and I are convinced he's going to buck the trend and love it. So we'll see.
In terms of just hype and making theories, I spent thousands upon thousands of hours making predictions, all that kind of stuff. I don't know if we'll ever see that level of programming again.
Marvel fans would be shook. They were exhausted after WandaVision. But we Game of Thrones fans, we know about theorizing for years on end. So
yeah, is Mephisto gonna pop up in Game of Thrones?
Maybe Mephisto appears. Who knows? Maybe Mephisto was blue this whole time, and we already saw him this season.
Yeah, the Night King. He's very interesting from the little bit I've seen of him so far.
Well, last episode, we reined in a new king. King Tommen took the throne, and we saw Cersei make somewhat of a surprising move in supporting getting Marjorie to be his queen. So she went and talked to her father, and he also swiftly reminded her of her own pending nuptials to Sir Loras.
I'm waiting.
Tyler is waiting for that wedding.
I just know it's disaster. Any wedding in this show.
Well, then across the Narrow Sea, we see Daenerys being counseled by her group, in which she learns Daario Naharis has taken 96 ships in a rogue mission. And she is also unfortunately told that both Yunkai and Astapor have slid back into the slavers' hands. So they are in an uproot, in complete dishevelment over there, which causes Daenerys to say she will delay her trip to King's Landing and Westeros to rule and re-free all of the people she has helped so far. Then Littlefinger and Sansa arrive at the Vale, in which Lady Lysa Arryn immediately marries Littlefinger on the spot, impromptu marriage, and quickly reminds us of just how crazy she is as she gets very jealous of Sansa immediately. The Hound learns that he is the last name on Arya's kill list as she names them off one by one. And finally, the Night's Watch, as well as Bran and all of his little crew, are at Craster's place with the mutineers, And yay, the mutineers are killed and taken down.
Woo!
One of which brutally stabbed through the head by Jon Snow
Ugh.
himself.
Ugh.
Another of which taken down by Ghost in the woods. But alas, we still do not get a Stark reunion as Jojen convinces Bran that they need to go free the wolves and not let Jon see them. So
We were so
they're
close.
back on
Twice.
their mission north.
Twice now. They were so close.
And Sir Alistair's plan has been thwarted. Jon did not get killed up at Craster's place. But here we are. That leads us into episode 6. Let's see what the Laws of Gods and Men has to offer.
Oh.
Yeah, there it is.
I don't remember that being there before.
That big man.
Yeah.
The
Whatever that's
coin.
about.
Titan.
He moves too. Yeah, the big pieces of music I've taken away from this show so far is definitely the theme of the entire show and Reigns of Castamere.
Tyler, just wait. So this is the first time we see Bravos.
Stannis looking stern as usual.
Awesome.
Well, they come in right between his legs. How fitting.
If it's
Just go.
anatomically correct if you look up.
Yeah, I would do that. I'd be guilty. I'd look up. Styling and profiling. I love that they're doing it all in unison too.
Stannis is thoroughly unamused by all of this.
Nah, he's like, what the hell's all this?
What can we do for you, Lord Stannis?
Davos
This is
is more
Stannis of
prepared than
Osbarath,
Stannis with this whole
King
thing.
of the Andals and the First Men, Lord of the Seven Kingdoms and Protector of the Realm.
This is the first one where there's so many titles in this episode. Like, every character in this series gets to reveal all their titles. It happens again and again and again in this
As was
episode.
his brother before him.
There's only one reliable leader left in Westeros. Stannis. He's got the birthright.
I need me a friend like Davos.
He's a tried and
He's like the real
commander,
MVP.
and he
What a
doesn't
good
just
friend.
talk about paying people back, he does it.
Captain,
It's a really good example of how, like,
pilots tried to board, the
what
brave captain
money
leads his men
can
to
give you in
victory.
terms of power.
A few days later, why do you call for your red shirt before battle? The captain replies, so that if I am stabbed,
Yeah,
you will
Deadpool
not
stole
see
this
me
joke.
bleed. The next morning, the lookout
Oh
screams,
my. Oh man.
I give you
Oh my
until the
gosh,
full moon
we haven't
to
seen them
order
in
all
forever.
Ironborn scum out of the north and back to
I
those
almost forgot about
shit-stained
them. It's
rocks
been so
you
long.
call home.
Still sailing.
Lord of the Dreadful
I hate this man.
and Warden of the North. Everything they've done to him, they've also done to you.
To be
As
fair, they
long
didn't
as
really
can
like
hurt
Theon,
our
but
prince
you know,
with impunity.
whatever, I guess.
The word Ironborn.
Ooh. Oh man, right in the head. Looks like I'll be taking that. Yay! Operation Rescue Theon is on the move. They really put him down there with the dogs.
I mean, it's.
They
I
did.
hate this man.
Too.
Oh, come on. He gave you the right info.
And risk him snitching.
I don't know. I guess.
We're going home.
Yay! Poor Theon.
You can see the psychological damage.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He's almost too far gone.
This is where, like, Alfie Allen, like, starts to really act his ass off.
Yeah.
Oop.
Oh man, he just comes in like covered in blood.
So badass. He doesn't care. He's like happy to see this.
This is turning into a lovely.
He's like, oh, cool. We got people.
All right, war.
Right.
This man has no armor on. He's just running into battle shirtless. Jesus, like the man has no armor on. You're telling me he's gonna beat people? Back in the cage. Ooh.
How fast can you run?
Look at that face, man. There's like,
Are we gonna have to kill dogs too?
how fast do you run?
I guess we're retreat. I guess.
Now,
For your brother!
my brother's dead.
Well, mission failed. So.
Poor Theon.
Oh, he can see like all the marks all over him. What kind of face is that? What a sick man.
Yeah, Theon is completely gone here. Completely gone.
Yeah, definitely seems that way.
Not even a human being anymore. Put on the Barry White music.
Is this gonna take a romantic turn?
Pretend to be someone you're not.
Tend to be who?
Theon Greyjoy.
Of course. Oh crap! He got huge.
I know. Could you imagine if that happened in
Oh
real
no! No, not the ghost. I knew things were too peaceful and happy around here. All
Our
right,
first dragon appearance since episode 1.
He's just like, I'll be taking that, and just left.
There's more titles.
Yeah, she's got like a whole throne room and everything. I dig it. Your dragon killed my goat.
But I will see he has paid their value 3 times over.
That works. That's kind of like insurance.
For that, he has my gratitude. I should be honored to meet him.
You have, your grace. You crucified him.
Oh, well.
I pray you will
Awkward.
never live to see a member of your family treated so cruelly. 162 noble Myronese are still nailed to those posts, carrion for vultures, rotting in the sun.
And what of the slave children these noble Myronese crucified?
It seems kind
They
of
were
a
rotting in the
tough
sun as
issue
well.
here.
Would you have begged me for their right to a proper burial? Bury your father.
I don't know how I feel about this.
There are 212 applicants.
Jesus Christ.
Lots of awkward conversations for Daenerys today.
Pedro's gonna sit there.
The Hound slaughtered 5 of our soldiers. I believe the phrase "fuck the king."
Love it.
Daenerys has taken up residence in Meereen. She has conquered the city and rules.
You're finally gonna actually like deal with her, or
And she has 3 dragons.
Baby dragons.
Larger every year.
What we saw was not quite a baby.
yeah, I don't know what. Yeah, pretty big.
Don't tell me you're worried about a child halfway across the world.
A child with 2 seasoned warriors counseling her, and a powerful army at her back, your grace.
Everybody just underestimating Daenerys, I
I have
guess.
been to Essos.
I know,
and seen
big
the
time.
Unsullied
Oh, they're
firsthand.
just baby dragons.
They were very impressive.
Yeah,
on
it's not like
that
she has a giant army.
Less so than
Warriors advising her,
Dragons
whatever.
haven't won a war in 300 years.
Only Varys. I'm not actually a
love this scene.
nobleman. No one is under obligation to call me lord.
And yet everyone does. You are from Essos. Where? Lys. I have an ear for accents.
I've lost
So
my
good.
accent entirely.
I have an ear for that as well. One you
I
don't
just
like
had
telling
no idea
people.
how smart Oberyn was.
I was never interested in girls either.
What then?
Varys, our asexual king here.
Everybody is interested.
All right.
in something.
Good for him.
Not me. When I see what desire does to people, what it's done to this country, I am very glad to have no part in it.
Dude is hardcore, man.
The absence of desire.
He's just like, I'm my own independent man who
Yeah.
don't need anyone.
Yeah. So, like essentially like desire and love will like bring you down. He wants no part of that.
Meanwhile, Oberyn lives his life all about desire.
Yeah, he's living the life. I commend him for it.
Really?
Father's orders.
That's just rude.
I love the how Tommen's looking down on Tyrion and Tyrion's looking up. Larry, do you know the blooper I'm talking about when Tyrion's dancing?
Yes.
I need to
All
see
I
that.
think about right now. That's all I can think about.
Choked on his pigeon pie.
So you would blame the bakers?
All the pigeons, just leave me out of it. Pointing a loaded crossbow at Sansa Stark while you tore at her clothes and beat her.
Silence! You will not speak unless called upon.
I see this trial is going to be real fair.
Dismiss Samaria.
Yeah. Tywin is having a blast right now.
Yeah.
Blind eye.
I think you have made your point, Grand Maester. You have a lot of
Thank
potions in
you.
your store.
Had Prince Oberyn, the Strangler. Poison few in the Seven Kingdoms possess.
What an interesting little elixir there called the Strangler. This is a very, very interesting name.
Shortly before the Battle of Blackwater Bay, I confronted him about his
I
plans.
love how everyone's
to
telling
bring
like
the
a
ice.
true story, but done so to like, you know, put Tyrion in a corner
Joffrey
here.
insisted on remaining
Yeah,
at the
they're
battlements
definitely
and
telling the story
believed
without
his
much
presence would
context
inspire the
behind it.
troops.
Exactly. And Tyrion has no say in this at all.
He said, perhaps you should speak more softly to me then. Monsters are dangerous, and just now kings are dying like flies.
Come on.
Meeting of the small council.
He didn't seem gladdened by the news.
This is
Perhaps
rigged.
His marriage to Sansa Stark had made him more sympathetic to the Northern cause.
Even Varys, who you would think he would be on Tyrion's side a little bit.
Sadly, my lord, I never forget a thing.
Jamie doesn't look so happy with his sister.
No, he's definitely not happy.
This isn't a trial, it's a farce. Cersei has manipulated everything, and you know it.
I know nothing.
At least Jamie knows and understands.
He killed his king.
As did I.
Yeah.
Do you know the last order the Mad King gave me? I saved your life so you could murder my brother.
Won't be murder, it'll be justice.
I'll leave the King's Guard. I'll take my place as your son and heir if you let Tyrion live.
Done.
Oh, all right. I thought that was going to be a lot easier. I thought this was going to be a lot harder.
Rendered, Tyrion will be
Jamie
given
was
the chance
shocked.
to speak. He'll plead for mercy. I'll allow him to join the Night's
I don't think you thought he'd get that far.
Well, at least it was a successful meeting on Jamie's
I guess.
part.
Sure, Cersei's not going to like that.
You found guilty.
Oh, you think so?
You need to enter a formal plea for mercy and ask to be sent to the wall.
Almost feels like Jamie's like his lawyer. Like, take the plea.
Crown may call its next witness.
Oh man, who's next? No!
Brutal.
Not SHAE.
This
Come
is
on.
this is
After
tough.
that, I mean, this isn't gonna go well after their last conversation.
SHAE.
The betrayal.
Swear by all the gods that your testimony will be true and honest.
After everything we've been
I
through.
swear it. I know that he's guilty. He and Sansa planned together.
What? Throw her out.
so crazy that all the
was happy to
Lannisters and
help.
stuff told the truth,
He hated
and the other one that's
Joffrey.
not telling the truth
He hated the
is
queen.
Tyrion's
He
love.
hated you, my lord.
Yeah. Yeah, who bought her
He
off?
stole poison from the Grand
Yep.
Mesa's chamber.
Why would he reveal such plans to his wife's maid?
I love that Oberyn's like the
I
only
wasn't
one with
just
any
her
sort of
maid.
common sense.
He stole me. I was with another man, a knight in your lordship's army.
Okay, this lady
But when
needs to go.
Tyrion arrived at the
Yeah.
camp, you
Where's
belong to me
Bronn?
now,
Bronn,
he
take her
said.
away.
I want you to
Get her
fuck
outta
me
here.
like it's my last night in this world.
Silence.
Poor Tyrion.
Silence!
His heart's just breaking in front of our eyes.
Fuck him like it was his last night in this world.
Asking the
Asking
tough
the important,
questions.
I did
yeah,
everything
asking the
he
important
wanted.
questions over it.
Whatever he told me to do to him,
Please don't.
I am a whore. Remember?
Mm.
But she wouldn't let him in her bed. So I promised to kill King Joffrey for her.
I saved this city and all your worthless lives. I should have let Stannis kill you all.
Tyrion!
I'm guilty of being a dwarf.
You're not on trial for being a dwarf.
Oh, I did not kill Joffrey, but I wish that I had. Watching your vicious bastard die gave me more relief than 1,000 lying whores.
Damn.
I wish I had enough poison for the whole pack of you. I would gladly give my life to watch you all swallow it.
To his soul.
Chaos.
I demand a trial by combat.
Ooh. Ooh. We're doing this again?
Check out that epic stare down.
Yeah, this is
Whoever blinks
juicy.
first.
Oh, it ends right there. Reigns of Castamere is playing though. Always.
Oh, well, it was a Lannister showdown at the end. So
Man.
Oh my.
Yeah, that's one way to say it. Oh my.
Well, that was season 4, episode 6, The Laws of Gods and Men, and certainly one of the most iconic dialogue moments of the entire series. One of the most iconic speeches, certainly, the entire series sees there in the trial. But before we get into that juicy bit at the end, let's go ahead and discuss the other various plot lines we saw before we got to the actual trial itself, starting with Bravos. We've heard of Bravos, whether it be from Arya's storyline or the Iron Bank of Bravos itself, several times throughout the series, and we have finally visited the land over in Essos. Stannis and Sir Davos, who head over there to basically ask for money. We saw Sir Davos send off that raven with the help of Shireen previously, and the Iron Bank is basically like, bruh, you got whooped at the Battle of Blackwater and you don't really have anything left. But thankfully for Stannis, Sir Davos is able to talk and able to convince them to back his cause and give them their money. So they're heading back out with his pirate friend once again. So how'd you feel about that whole Davos Stannis plot, Tyler?
Well, it was interesting seeing them actually go there and seeing the place. It looks really cool now that we got like a visual of what it looks like. I guess we'll probably see them a couple more times throughout the series. This is like their big introduction. It was also just cool that Mark Gatiss was one of the 3 people there, just because just fun because I've seen him in a lot of things. You know, I'm a big Sherlock fan, so it was cool seeing him pop up in this as well. But as far as the plan goes, I guess Davos is the real MVP here. You know, he really stepped in and stepped up for Stannis and actually got him the stuff that he wanted. So maybe Stannis should be a little bit more grateful of Davos, but he probably won't be. But you know, like I said when we were doing the reaction, we all need a friend that's as loyal as Davos was in that moment.
Yeah, always. I mean, all right. And how did you feel about them in this episode? How are you feeling about Stannis and Davos's plot line up and through this point, Diebs?
But regarding this scene, it was kind of like when I think of this scene and them like trying to shift the funds from Tommen to Stannis, like it almost like felt to me like Stannis is trying to lock up GOP member nominations here. Like there's a lot of like politics being done. I liked how they showed that in Bravos. Like they clearly don't believe in blood or birthrights or anything like that. It's they believe in money, you know, power it buys. So that was kind of my take there. And like you said, Tyler, like Davos was amazing in this sequence. Stannis looked completely unprepared, and sure enough, Davos sweeps in and gets it done.
Yeah, if it had just been Stannis, and probably if Stannis brought Melisandre, they would have been walking out with a goose egg. They would have had no money in their hands. just as
Davos, the
poor
MVP.
as when they came in. This is
Yeah.
not the first time Davos has saved him. He also got him all those ships for the Blackwater battle the first time around. It was him who did all that too. So it's very lucky he has Davos on his side.
He doesn't
So-
deserve him, but he's glad. I'm glad that Davos is there.
Then we see another person on a ship for the first time since the season 3 finale. Yara, we finally pick back up after she made the decision to go and save her little brother. And she gives this rousing speech to her Ironborn crew about saving their prince. They arrive, they do a good job of infiltrating the Dreadfort and getting to Theon. But then she quickly finds out that her brother is not who he once was, doesn't really actually exist in this body currently. And she gets to meet Reek for the first time. And he refuses to go with her, bites her hand. And thus she and her army are forced to retreat in order not to get killed by Ramsay. And we then see Ramsay decide to be very nice, butter good old Reek up because he needs his help to get back the castle that we heard he and his father talking about a little bit earlier in the season. So we learn of his plan to have Reek pretend to be Theon Greyjoy. So that is coming up. So how'd you feel about that whole scenario, Diebs?
Yeah, I think you really truly saw that psychological damage of Theon. He's not even Theon anymore. He's Reek. Let's be clear. So that was really evident in that sequence. I found it funny how when you see Yara's first time seeing Theon and he's literally sleeping with the dogs, Ramsay's dogs, that was perfect. Greyjoy is just completely left after one menacing line from Ramsay Bolton, like, how fast can you run? And a single dog gets them the tail between their legs and they're out. So it kind of wasn't a very good look. And Alfie Allen's acting just goes up a notch here as Theon or Reek in this sequence, and it just gets better and better.
So you were excited to see Yara finally, Tyler, pick up with her
Well,
story
yeah.
after all this time. How'd you
Well,
feel
yeah.
about the sequence itself?
Like, I knew right away, thankfully we also have subtitles, so I saw the subtitles like Yara on a boat. So it's like, oh my gosh, it's been 6 episodes now. Like, we're finally picking up with that now again. But I mean, that was great. At least initially, I thought it was great that they went in to try and save Theon / Reek, and then we see the psychological toll put on them. Definitely rough, just in general. I mean, as we saw, like, a whole season's worth of him being tortured to that point, so it's definitely understandable why his mental psyche is just completely destroyed at this point. Definitely surprised that they retreated in that way. I mean, that little battle they had in that little room was interesting. I was really surprised that Ramsay just walks in with no armor and just goes into battle. And it's like, well, all right, I guess Ramsay's that crazy. He's just gonna go into a full-on giant war and just shirtless and he's just covered in blood. But yeah, they just run away. He's like, I'm gonna open this door and unlock this dog, and we're just gonna all retreat and we're gonna say it's a mission failed. I feel bad though, because obviously Theon / Reek is still going to be continued to be tortured, probably physically and especially emotionally.
That happened
I don't know
immediately. We saw
Yeah.
the continuance of the
That's what I
mental
mean.
torture right after.
And now I guess it's going to be reversed. Now he's going to go back to being Theon because he has to be. So I don't know. It's like a role reversal. Like, you abused him to the point where he's not Theon anymore. And now you're abusing him still to try and get him to be back to being Theon, but kind of like as like a mask of who he actually is. That was the thing that surprised me, though. I mean, even though I thought the speech was great and her hyping up her men to try and save Theon, I was thinking, like, they didn't even really like Theon, like, at all. Like, they cast him away. Like, they sent him with the Starks.
This is the second time she's tried to bring him home, and he's denied her, because she did try when he was in Winterfell. She tried to tell him, you're going to lose here. There's no way you can hold this. Come home with me and live. And he was like, no.
At least at this point in the story, he definitely has a very interesting story. Well, as a whole, from these first 4 seasons, obviously he was, with the Starks, befriended the Starks, and then he betrays the Starks, and he tries to do his own thing, fails because he tries to live up to his family that didn't want him to begin with. And then he kind of gets screwed from both ends now. So
Then we go back across the narrow sea to the east once more to Meereen, and we see these adorable little goats and this really cute little kid and a very large, intimidating
God.
dragon comes up across the hills. Didn't kill the kid, flew over his head, just scared him half to death before torching the goats, snatching one on up and bouncing. But then we see one of the goat herders bring in the remains of one of his goats to be like, your dragon burned up my entire livelihood. Daenerys says, we'll pay you 3 times over. I'm sorry. And then we meet Hisdar, who comes in, who you might recognize from Cruella recently. And he comes in with a different request. His father was one of the noblemen who was selected to be crucified in repayment for the children who were crucified. But he says that his father was one of the nobles who argued against that display and killing of the children and was just outvoted. So Daenerys does, in fact, let him take down his father to give him a proper burial at this point, and kind of sees the toll of being a queen currently, as many people are coming forward. So
212 people in line or something like that.
Yeah, 212 to go. So how'd you feel about Daenerys' storyline this episode, Tyler?
Yeah, I mean, it's great to see her, I guess, take on that responsibility as queen, for better or for worse. Obviously, there are definitely a lot of trials and tribulations to ruling people, as we've seen. You know, you have, various different problems. You have people coming with their goats being burnt to a crisp, and then you also have other people trying to get their fathers uncrucified and give a proper burial. So there's definitely a wide variety of eclectic people that you have to rule. At least for now, it seems like she's doing pretty well with it. It's got, 212 extra people after that. It's probably going to take a toll on you. I don't know, maybe you have to get some sort of automated system around or something. But I'm liking seeing Daenerys grow as a character and see her take on that responsibility I guess maybe she should try and maybe maintain the dragons, make sure they don't go out and just murder goats all the
something
time.
To do with them.
Yeah, I don't know, but it's great to see that she's at least trying to maintain order with these people that she's freed, for better or for worse, it seems like.
All right, Diebs, how did you feel about Daenerys?
That was all right. Kind of boring. And I think to a point though, you can see very clearly, they're bored as well. Like you said, 212 people. The take is Dany wants to be so much more than the mother of dragons. She wants to be a just queen. She wants her people to love her. And you saw that when she showed compassion to letting that guy take down his father and give him a proper burial. So it wasn't the greatest segment of this episode. Obviously, the best part is beginning with those big freaking dragons and scaring the crap out of that little farm boy. So that was the most fun part.
Yeah,
that part was a little bit too happy. I knew something was about to go down.
Yeah,
it makes it great though when they come back and it's like baby dragons. It's like, no, if you saw the dragon, you wouldn't be thinking baby dragon. He's still young, I'll give you that. Drogon, he's not full grown for sure, but he could still do some damage, as we see.
Yeah, he carried away a goat and roasted everything. So
I do think season 4 in general, we start the season off with her still freeing people. She frees Meereen at the beginning of season 4. But season 4, at this point, we're definitely getting to the point where she's really having to try to balance her versions of justice with ruling compassion versus hard fist on stopping slavery. And it's quite the little conundrum for her as a queen currently. As we saw just in that one conversation with this man. And ultimately, she did choose compassion for him after the just rule. All right, then we do see them, speaking of Daenerys, finally, it seems, they have decided to take her a little bit more seriously as they get more information. They start listing off all of the resources she has at this point. Another stupid Cersei decision is exposed when they tell her, hey, yo, remember Sir Barristan that you like humiliated and threw out of the Kingsguard? Well, he went to her side and is advising her now. One of many not so smart decisions Cersei has made throughout the series. They come up with some plan. Tywin asks Varys if he can get his little birds into Marine. We don't know what that means, but I guess we shall see soon.
I didn't know if they meant literal or not.
But then we see the lead up to the trial, where everything is just basically a farce, as Jaime tells his father. I mean, they're bringing these people up who are telling true stories, but in such a manipulated, lying way. Right down to Lord Varys, who up until this point had seemingly been trying to help Tyrion and on his side, and he went up there and testified against him as well. We see Tommen step down from the throne, pretty enigmatic of the kingdom. He gives the throne over to Tywin, basically what he and Joffrey had been doing this whole time anyway. It leads to Jaime cutting a deal with Lord Tywin that if he spares Tyrion, he will give up his spot on the Kingsguard and go to Casterly Rock to be his heir. Tywin agrees and says he'll send Tyrion to the Night's Watch as long as he pleads at the end. And then they bring out the worst of all, the big betrayal of the episode. The new witness is SHAE, and unlike the other witnesses, SHAE bald-faced lies. She just makes things up. She tells complete lies from front to back, is still seemingly scorned as well from how Tyrion chased her off. Obviously, this sends Tyrion into a mental spiral, and he does not go by the plan that Jaime had asked him to. Says, I'm not going to get any justice here. I wish I would have let Stannis burn you all to the ground because you all are terrible. I demand a trial by combat. Tyrion's infamous lines. He loves that trial by combat.
I know, but like, what's it gonna be like this time? Like, is he gonna fight this time? Is it gonna be Jaime this time? Because Jaime's there.
Yeah, last time he wanted Jaime, he wasn't there. To be
Bronn,
fair, Tyrion has not gotten a fair trial either time he has demanded a trial by combat, either in the Vale or here. How did you feel about that scene, Diebs? What was your reaction, if you remember, the first time SHAE walked through that door?
It was heartbreaking. You even see it like in Tyrion's face. The fact that you had all these people, even Varys, come and testify, telling true stories about Tyrion, like all the times that he stood up to Joffrey. He was the one that actually stood up and made us love him even more. It really came back and bit him in the end there. And then you have SHAE come out and just bold-faced lie. It's pretty interesting that all the people we hate told the truth, but in some sick manner. But SHAE, breaking the heart of Tyrion was really tough to watch. You look at Tywin, just so comfortable in that Iron Throne, just staring down at Tyrion as he has Tyrion's entire life. This is just one of the most epic scenes of one of my favorite scenes of Game of Thrones, when he'll go, I'll get no justice, so I'll let the gods decide my fate. Like, it was so fun. Like, I remember rewatching that scene on YouTube, like over and over and over. For me personally, this is the best we got at this point of Tyrion since Battle of Blackwater Bay. Tyrion's ability to use his words and manipulate others, like, put him in this predicament. And it was just such a memorable moment that if we were ranking like favorite moments of Game of Thrones, this is probably top 10. And it's not even an action sequence, which are so memorable in Game of Thrones. I just love that Tyrion finally let his family hear him and let them know that, they are the jackasses that they are. He knew that he was dead. He was absolutely 100% dead. and I'm glad that Tyrion got the last word in.
Right, Tyler, how did you feel about the trial, the court scene, all the drama?
I mean, the actual scene itself in general was pretty great. Poor Tyrion, he's up there just in having one of the most unfair trials of them all. The deck is stacked against him, and then you have, already, and then you already, and just like the killing death blow with SHAE coming out of nowhere and just dumping on it, making it even worse. It'll be, I guess, it's intriguing where she came from, because she was supposed to peace out on that boat a while ago. So I'm thinking, like, somebody go find her. Did she actually get on the boat? Has she been chilling somewhere? But yeah, I guess
that means Bronn lied to Tyrion.
That's what I mean. Well, I don't know where Bronn's been lately either, but I don't know. It just sucks to see. I guess this is like the end of their relationship, if you will, because I mean, there's no coming back from this. Seeing SHAE do that, I mean, that's just despicable. I feel. I mean, their relationship wasn't like built on the greatest of merits to begin with, and it was always kind of rocky, regardless whether they were back where they were originally or when they brought SHAE over. The drama of that. It just sucks to see it end this way. Although I do think that Tyrion's actual speech towards the end was brilliant. I can definitely understand why it's such a big scene that a lot of people love. It's one of the most memorable scenes because it was so impactful, seeing him stand up for himself and just saying, screw this plan that Jaime has for me. This trial is not fair anyway. Like, you guys have been, shitting on me this entire time while I basically helped you guys all stay alive. Screw this. I'm going to make my own path, and I'm going to do a trial by combat. So that's at least great to see Tyrion grow in that way and stand up for himself and have that epic stare down with his father as the Reigns of Castamere plays as the credits roll.
Oh, I was so hoping Tyrion would go, "You can't handle the truth."
I know.
All right. Well, this is a Tyler only segment because Diebs knows where we go from here. But where we left off on this episode with all of these little storylines, what are your predictions moving forward, Tyler?
I guess we'll start with the biggest one, with the ending, with the trial by combat. I guess somebody's going to fight for Tyrion. I feel like Tyrion never gets to actually do his own trial by combat. I guess it's not fair, if you will, to have him do a trial by combat. But I don't know. I figured it would be Jaime. If Jaime's there to he wasn't there the first time, and he was very adamant on protecting his brother. So I imagine maybe Jaime will step in and do the trial with his one hand. He's been practicing, so
yes.
So maybe that'll fit really well. I don't know. As far as the stuff with Reek/Theon, I guess he's gonna try and channel his old self. Yeah, I guess imagine Daenerys is just gonna be stuck there doing queen stuff for a little while longer.
All right, and we'll start on Diebs for this one. You could do just this episode, or if you kind of remember your favorite characters and least favorite characters up into this midway point of season 4.
Oh, just up until this point?
Yeah.
Oh man.
I know it's hard. It's hard to ignore what comes later for them. But...
yeah, that's the big one. Yeah, I'm gonna throw this character off the board then completely. You probably know where I'm going with that, Larry. I will go. Tyrion number 2 is my second favorite. Just a clear fan favorite all the time. Every single sequence, he steals it. Whether he's doing something like villainous or something, heroic, you just can't just not watch him. Like he's just brilliant every time. For the longest time, it's always been for me, Team Arya. I am House Stark, and Arya is just adorable, and I love her. I just love her to death. Least,
I would talk about this little assassin being adorable.
She is.
Yeah,
awesome.
that's one way to describe it.
Well, like
last we saw her, she did get slapped to the ground by the last episode. I mean,
when the Hound is giving her life lessons on the giant sword versus water dancing and all that. I love it. I love their dynamic so much.
Me too.
Ramsay is amazing. Just a complete psychopath. Looking back at this, Game of Thrones does the villain role so well. So I'm gonna put Ramsay in my least favorite, but also favorite because it's just so well done. But for me,
character you love to hate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good way to say it. Because Ramsey's just crazy. Like that scene where he's like, "How fast can you run?" You know, and it's like he's got that like blood on him, and he's got like that crazy smile, like just absolutely batshit crazy.
And Tyler, who were your faves and least faves for this episode? I presume I know who your favorite was.
Yeah, I think it's obvious that Tyrion has to be number one. I mean, he had like the best segment, I feel, of the episode. But Tyrion was great. I mean, he's always great. It's not a shocker. I mean, I would say probably even more so this episode. It felt like his performance definitely elevated more so than other ones. Davos was great as well. I mean, he was like the real MVP at the beginning of the episode, so, you know, getting Stannis all that cash. I do like Oberyn. I mean, he didn't really like do too much, I guess, in the context of the episode, but just his presence and just like him actually like having a brain and understanding like, hey, this trial seems kind of messed up. Maybe I should ask questions, you know? As far as other characters in the episode, we didn't really get like a lot of like the storylines. Daenerys was good in what, you know, her trying to maintain, but I mean, it wasn't like anything super crazy. Like I love Daenerys in this episode kind of thing. Least favorites, I guess by default you have to throw in Ramsay. Just because Ramsay is such a despicable person. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I can't think of like, I mean, of this episode, I mean, Tywin was pretty bad too. I also should have thrown in Jaime into the people I liked as well, because at least it seems like he's trying to stand up for his brother and doing the right thing. I mean, he is kind of wishy-washy on good and bad, especially in this season. But you know, at least he's trying to save his brother and did everything he can. I don't know if he's gonna do the next step and step in for this trial by combat kind of sort of thing.
No SHAE, Varys, or Cersei in your least faves?
Yeah, I would probably put SHAE in there. Because she definitely did the ultimate betrayal, so I would definitely put her in there as well. But I don't know if there's like set up something like underlying there, like is she being forced to say these things? Like I don't know. I guess for now I'll give her the benefit of the doubt a little. She's still terrible right now, but I don't know if she's being forced to say these things. Yeah, I don't know if you never know in Game of Thrones if someone's being forced to do something against their will.
I want to throw Pedro Pascal Oberyn on my most favorite in this episode. Oberyn has like so much charisma, and I don't know.
Absolutely.
So it's fun to go back and see just how he just steals every scene, just like Tyrion.
Yeah. Even just sitting there, just making facial expressions, like he just commands the room. It seems like.
Yeah. Oh, and I love it. Anytime you can, I feel like anytime a newer character like comes in and gets to like go toe to toe with all of these really smart people in Westeros and hold their ground, instantly you love them. Like it happened in season 3 with Olenna. We see her going from Tyrion to Tywin to Varys, and now Oberyn is.
She put everybody in her place.
Yes. And now Oberyn has talked and had great conversation with Tyrion. Then he stood face to face in that stare down with Tywin, and now he gets this great conversation, like Battle of the Wits type of thing with Varys, and we see their differences. So it's a great way to establish a character and really kind of bring them to life in only a few episodes. And a lot of episodes so far, he's only had like a scene or two. He hasn't had all that much screen time, but he's made such an impact on season 4.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy.
That's that moment when Oberyn's talking to Varys. You better believe like Oberyn definitely climbed the ranks of like people that Varys needs to watch out for, because when he was able to kind of deduce where Varys has come from just like, based on his accent alone, and then even Varys admitted like I even like don't do it anymore, and Oberyn even knew that. Like he was like, this guy is actually like pretty smart, and that was like the moment where you know, Oberyn's, you know, a big deal, and Varys has to definitely keep an extra eye on that guy.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Diebs, for coming on and reacting to season 4, episode 6 with us. Why don't you let everybody know where they can find you on the internet?
Thank you. Well, first of all, thank you so much. It's an honor. Please be sure to subscribe here. Just awesome Game of Thrones content. You can find me on Twitter at Mr. Crockpot. I also do a podcast called the Suit Up Geeks. You can follow us on Twitter at the Suit Up Geeks. Huge Star Wars, huge comic book movie nerd. And we do reviews of Loki and The Bad Batch and all that fun stuff. We do drafts, and Larry, you crushed it during the horror draft. I cannot
Oh,
forget
man.
that. One of the best teams ever. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks. And Tyler, where can everyone find you?
Well, you can find me here reacting to Game of Thrones, and also when we do Daredevil reactions. So you can find me doing double duty here while Larry does all the other reactions with whether it be himself or with someone else. But also you can find me over on my channel. If you search up my name, you'll find my channel where I do reviews, rankings, reactions, all that jazz. And then you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at It's Tyler Calvert.
Perfect. And if you did enjoy this reaction, please go ahead, hit that like button down below and subscribe to the channel so you are always up to date on all of my latest videos, including each and every one of our Game of Thrones reaction videos. We still have more special guest people on the way for season 4. Lots of guests because, well, let's just face it, season 4 has lots of great episodes. So
I have no clue who these guests are.
Yes.
I'm usually kept in the dark, so
But
don't
as
ask
Tyler
me who they are.
But as Tyler said, make sure to check out our Daredevil reactions if you are a fan of those. Also reacting to Loki with Hannah and Love Victor currently. So basically call me a reaction channel that occasionally does movie reviews right now. So there you go. But also leave your comments down below. Do you love this episode of Game of Thrones? What was your first reaction when either you read or you saw SHAE come through and testify against Tyrion? We want to hear all those thoughts in the comment section down below, or as you heard, you can hit all 3 of us up on Twitter. I love you all so much for your continued support. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.